Majority votes for Anthony Portesy for Superintendent of Highways. All those who agree with that motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed and abstentions is 1. All right, motion carries. Thank you. Anthony, do you want to come forward?
Sure. So before I get into my prepared remarks tonight, you know how I know we're going to take back Brookhaven? This room is packed. This room is packed, okay? Good evening, members of the Brookhaven Town Democratic Committee. I'm truly honored to accept your nomination for Superintendent of Highways for the town of Brookhaven. Well, by now you know I was the candidate for Brookhaven in 2017. I gotta tell you, since I ran 2 years ago, the status quo has remained the same. Not much has changed in 2 years. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I practice law in Manhattan. And whenever I tell people I'm from Brookhaven, they think it's this little hamlet on the eastern part of Long Island. And I always tell people, we're 483,000 residents. That's larger than the population of Atlanta, the 38th largest state, the 38th largest capital in the state of New York. The other thing that I love to tell people in New York City about Brookhaven is we were founded in 1655, 121 years before the founding of our republic. So our town has got a storied history, a very proud storied history that we should all be proud of in this room. But fast forward to today, and our business climate in Brookhaven is toxic. Homeowners and businesses have to hire an expediter to get any sort of permit in this town, whether they want to expand their business or whether they want to do work on their homes. That's not right, that's not fair. Young families are leaving our town in droves for greener pastures in other towns and even other states. There's no plan to grow our tax base, and economic conditions are worsening. The current administration has ignored what seems to be obvious to everyone else, that after the town dump closes in 3 years, taxpayers will face dire economic conditions. Taxes are going to go up. The only thing we seem to be able to count on in this town is that elected officials continue to use the town as a proxy to further their own business interests. There's no keener example of this than the man that I'm running against, who has used the highway department as his own personal piggy bank. I'll give you a quick example. He changed the asphalt composition for road resurfacing to fatten the profit margins of the asphalt paving companies who donate to his political campaigns. That's wrong. That's a waste of taxpayer dollars. He doles out contracts to friends using the highway department as his own personal fiefdom. Despite the nefarious acts of the current highway administration, I'm proud of our town, I'm proud of our history, and I'm proud of our residents who work hard each and every day to carve their slice of the American dream. Brookhaven is a town I've lived in my entire life. I was raised in the Selden Center East area. The very same potholes that I went over as a kid, I go over as a 30-year-old. So a little bit about myself. I graduated from Newfield High School in 2004. I went on to attend Stony Brook University, where I graduated with dual degrees in business management and political science in 2008. I took a year off after graduating college because, as Dom said, we're middle-class people in my neighborhood. I didn't have money to go to law school. I didn't have money to pay for all the application fees. So I took a year off and I sold my soul to work for Cablevision Systems Corporation. So for a full year, that's why I have DirecTV in my house, because after working for them for a year, I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So I'm currently a lawyer in private practice, and I'm admitted to practice in the eastern and southern districts of New York, as well as the states of New York and New Jersey. What I do every single day is I help small businesses navigate the complex network of federal and state employment laws. I handle compliance for a large variety of small businesses. The difference between myself and my opponent is that I'm going to reform the way the town does business with contractors. I'm going to be open and transparent, and I'm not just saying that as a word, I mean it. I'm going to post the bid results online so you can see where your tax dollars are going. The best way to get rid of corruption is to shine a light on it, and that's what you'll get with Anthony Portesy as your highway superintendent. In 2017, we started something big in this town. The 2017 Brookhaven Town election showed us the power of the Better Brookhaven movement. The residents of our town are tired of only getting lip service from those in power. The taxpayers deserve and demand accountability and are ready for leadership who put the town's future above their own personal interests. This race is bigger than potholes, folks. It's about where we want our town to be 4 years from now, 8 years from now, 20 years from now. The character of our town is at stake, and it's up to us to move it in the direction that we choose. We shouldn't live in a town where the roads look like they belong in Beirut and not Brookhaven. We shouldn't live in a town where you have to call 6 times to get a street light replaced. We shouldn't live in a town where taxpayers don't know where their tax money is being spent without a Freedom of Information Law request. You shouldn't need a law degree and a specialization in forensic accounting to know where your tax money is being spent. Unfortunately, the elected officials in this town, with the exception of the Honorable Valerie Cartwright, are more focused on protecting their own re-election interests at the expense of taxpayers. There's no more transparent example of this than the referendum passed in November, which extended town officials' terms of office from 2 years to 4 years. I've lived in Brookhaven my entire life. I'm gonna raise my kids in Brookhaven. I care deeply about the next 20, 30, and 40 years of Brookhaven Town. That's why I'm fighting so fervently for the quality of life issues that are plaguing our town. It starts in the highway department with road repairs where proper construction is done right the first time, drainage systems that don't leave our front lawns flooded after a light rain, busted streetlights that make our town look more like Detroit and less like a middle-class Long Island hamlet. This campaign isn't about me, folks. This campaign is not about Anthony Portesy. It's about all 483,000 residents who have fought hard to preserve the last vestiges of a little middle-class lifestyle, a nice home in the suburbs. We're gonna rebuild this town from the ground up, and it starts in the highway department, but I can't do it alone. Everyone in this room has to be all in. This isn't a campaign for just local office. This is about taking back our town from the special interests that gave the town the Brookhaven moniker. I promise you I'm gonna campaign hard. We're going to win. But most importantly, I make a promise to you today that with your support, Brookhaven's worst days are behind us, our best days lie ahead, and together we'll build a better, brighter Brookhaven. Thank you.